Fear of Flying was one of the best-selling books of the 1970s, and its author, Erica Jong, is remembered as one of the writers who broke down the barriers during the sexual revolution. In fact, one of the older women in my own family told me that that book is the reason she had an affair.
Oh, okay.
Many women feel the same way, and Jong coined the provocative term zipless, you know what, rhymes with duck. That second word, something can't say on TV. But here's how Jong described it on 60 Minutes. Take a look.
It was a fantasy that I had in my 20s and that I gave to my heroine in Fear of Flying, which is that you get on a bus or a train or a plane and you see a beautiful man and you immediately are turned on by him, and you go off together and you have this wonderful experience and you part without knowing each other's names.
Many women who heard that and read the book felt inspired to break out of their own lives in a new way, particularly if there was an attractive man on the plane next to them.
I have been on that plane. No, only with the attractive. There was an attractive man once on the plane, and I was like, this is before I got married. Go on, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Wow, that's a real...
Nothing happened.
Quite an aside.
I'm sorry, I just...
All right.
I was coming back to
want to
the
create
story.
space if there's more.
No, there's no more.
But by the way, Erica Jong, who wrote 27 books overall, including that iconic semi-autobiographical novel, was also a mother. She had a daughter, Molly, and that daughter is now telling her own story in a new book. And as you might expect, anyone whose parent wrote a phrase for casual sex, zipless, you know what, the feelings are a bit mixed. She writes, and we garbled it here in the prompter, so I'm going to read it here. My mother coined an expression for casual sex, the zipless, Now think about being the offspring of the person who wrote that sentence and pour one out for me. The new book is How to Lose Your Mother. Molly Jong-Fast joins us now. Molly, thank you very much for being here. The book is very funny, it's very honest, it's very raw, it includes poop in the bed.
Yeah. I mean, so I wrote this book because I had this terrible year where my mother got diagnosed with dementia. Basically, it was the experience of so many people in the sandwich generation. The parents started declining. I had these kids that needed me. I had this career where I, did 5 things. And all of a sudden, my world and then my husband got diagnosed with this cancer. And he's fine now, and it ended up being very transformative for our lives. But I thought if I told this story, that people could get stuff from it.
You have a funny line here. I wrote this book to help people. I know you have to say that, but it's actually true. But I think one of the fascinating things is you say that you're coming to terms with the loss of your mother, but you never had her.
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept.
So, look, we are this generation, Generation X, where there's just not a ton written about us for whatever reason. The boomers are a huge generation. They kind of took over. They pretty much blocked out the sun for all of us, let's be honest. And we are all having these elderly parents and having to take care of them. And my mom was very complicated, but is also quite wonderful and has done amazing things for me, and I've had huge advantages. But I wanted to write about that experience of being needed on both sides by parents and children.
You talk about how there's a part of the book where you say, my mother told me that I was her world, her everything, and yet you didn't feel that way. You describe school vacations where you would be.
Yeah. No, but I loved my nanny.
At home with your nanny the whole time.
Well, we would go on trips together. Yeah. We would have wild trips. But yes, no, she would. I mean, look, a lot of this, people who have narcissistic parents, which a lot of us do, will relate to the idea of being told one thing and living another experience. And actually, I think that was in some ways a baby boomer phenomenon. Look, we were not raised the way we raise our kids. Like when I was a kid, and I'm sure you have had similar experience, we didn't have car seats. People smoked everywhere. It wasn't the same kind of, the way we raise our kids, if the car seat isn't in right, you could go to jail. You know what I mean? We are seriously much more involved in our kids' safeties and education. It's just different, I think.
Yeah. There's really beautiful kind of knife's edge writing about a child's relationship with their parent, and you have these hard-won truths. So I'm going to just read one because I think it's nice writing, and then I'm just curious what the value of it is to you. My mother had been a negligent parent, and it was impossible for her to be otherwise. She was a damaged person, and she wasn't a bad person. She tried her best. And it is true that sometimes your best is actually not good at all.
Yes. I mean, look, there is this you know, it's very hard to be honest, but I think that that it helps all of us to be honest about our lives. I think, you know, one of the reasons why I talk about being sober all the time is because I think it destigmatizes alcoholism to say you can get sober 19 and stay sober. And one of the reasons why I talk about her not being a great parent is because ultimately we got through it. I love her so much. And, you know, we don't have to be perfect. There's so much pressure in American life to sort of be something that is unobtainable. And I try really hard to sort of just, you know, I come from this literary tradition of getting at the computer and opening a vein, of just writing what really happened. And that's what I try to do here.
How vulnerable is it? Because you let it all out, the good, bad, and the ugly, about your mother, right? And how difficult was it for you to bear it all like that?
It actually was pretty great because she had written about her family and she had written about me, so I felt really safe doing it because I knew, and in fact, you know, she has dementia now, but they called her and asked her and she was like, she can do anything she wants. You know, we had that relationship. And
did you try to talk to her about?
Oh my God, all the time. And she was like, you know, what I care about is that you're my literary executor and my literary legacy. And so in that fact, like, I have actually done the most Erica Jong thing you can do, which is write about Erica Jong and in the hopes of sort of helping her legacy go on. But I also do think, like, if you are a person who is taking care of children and parents, which a lot of us are, I think you'll feel comforted by this book because you'll see that really you don't have to suffer. We're all just doing the best we can.
Yeah.
So true.
Well, you got the mess of it down on paper and the glory of it as well. So, Molly Jong-Fast, thank you very much.
Thank you.
How to Lose Your Mother is out wherever you like to buy your books. And that was today's By the Way.